Our next question is a science question. It's asking, where was the study of astrology first developed over 2,500 years ago?
So this question, I'm just going to take a few issues with this question, but I think it's good. I appreciate getting questions like this, but I'm just going to clear a few things up. So first of all, I believe what they're looking for is where was the study of astronomy first developed, not the study of astrology. So astronomy is the study of the moons and planets, the stars, their movements. Astrology is sort of a pseudoscientific belief system. It's not really at all scientific, but astrology is sort of the idea around astrological signs. And I was born in May, so I'm like really temperamental, and I can't fall in love with somebody who's born in June. Like those kinds of things tend to come from astrology, and they're not based in science. So, but astronomy is I think what's being asked about here. And then the other issue that I'm going to take with the question is that it says it's sort of a leading question. So. I think sometimes teachers will do this because they'll have taught you, I want you to know that astronomy was developed in this part of the world at this time. But when we do that as teachers, I think we sometimes do a little bit of a disservice to our students. The truth is that there is not one place where astronomy was developed. And in fact, 2,500 years ago is not even close to getting to where, to the extent at which humans have been thinking about astronomy. There's and I don't know specifically. I don't tend to be great with science history, but I know a little bit about some discoveries that we've made about astronomy over the years. So if we could jump to my screen really quick. In Scotland, years ago, this was like in the early 2000s, there was a field in a place called Warrenfield, there was a calendar found, a large calendar built into the ground. And it took a while to excavate and figure out, but and it's this sort of shape that you can see here on my screen, this oval shape. And although we can't really see the symbols in here, what's indicated in this calendar are the phases of the moon. It describes the different phases of the moon waxing to waning, and it's complete. And this has been dated at like 35,000 years old. There's good indication that, human beings would have started doing agriculture comprehensively in many parts of the world about 10 to 12,000 years ago. So they assuredly would have needed to have a good understanding of astronomy, because astronomy would teach them about what they could expect from the sun in different seasons. And so definitely during the time when agriculture was developed, there had to have been at least a decent understanding of astronomy. That would be 10 to 12,000 years ago. But again, this field would have been has been dated at 35,000 years ago. And modern humans, Homo sapiens, are considered to have been around for 150 to 250,000 years. And it's likely that during all of that time, there was some consideration of, what is the movement of the stars and the planets. I'm going to show another couple of pictures here. This is called the Nebra Sky Disk. The Nebra Sky Disk is 4,000 years old. It was found in what is today modern Germany. Again, 4,000 years old, and it's a relatively good representation of the night sky. Fairly simple, but it shows that early people were thinking about the positions of different things in the sky. I thought I'd also mention, this question might have been leading us toward one of two civilizations. I'm guessing that the question was hoping us to say something either about Egypt or about Greece, because those are the two civilizations that would have been operating around this time 25,000 years ago, or 2,500 years ago. So I just thought I'd mention there's this guy, Aristarchus of Samos, and he would have been operating about 2,800 years ago. I think that's right. No, 2,300 years ago. But as far as we know, this guy Aristarchus of Samos was the first person to suggest a heliocentric model of our solar system. In other words, that the sun was at the center of it. So that idea has been around for at least 2,300 years. And we could consider that's kind of like the beginning maybe of modern astronomy, you could say, since we accept that, since that's a very important part, the idea that our solar system is all based around the sun. But again, the idea that astronomy started 2,500 years ago is not true. The idea that one area would have begun astronomy is not true. Civilizations all over the world would have been interacting with astronomy. And our full knowledge of astronomy today comes from advancements that happened in all different parts of the world. Huge advancements were made in China between like the year 1000 and 1500. And so we owe our understanding to lots of different civilizations over a many, many thousands of years period of time. So anyways, that's how I'm going to choose to answer that question.
I like that. That is interesting to me. I think about that with math all the time too, the history, and it's the same idea as we owe it to all different civilizations. It's not just one that came up with everything.
Well, and it was such a different time too, right? Like today we think of math and astronomy like, oh, I take a class and I learn what it is. But back in the day it was, okay, what is the world around me, and like how do I figure it out using math, or what natural math exists in the world, or how can I don't care about the stars just to care about the stars, but it's the world I live in and I want to know how things are moving and what's going on here. And obviously astronomy helps with navigation, astronomy helps with agriculture, there's so many applications. And so in a way I think of back in the day, learning in that way would have been so applicable. And I think our students sometimes lose track of that. And interesting, it would have been necessary in a way that today I think it's so easy to go, I have a calculator, I can look this up online. Like, why do I need any of this stuff? And it's a fair point. It's just a very different time than then.
I could keep going forever. I was going to keep going, and I was like,
Teacher
oh, this is going to get
conversations.
really deep.
Hashtag teacher problems.